Hey guys, I'm Simon. Well, I'm Batman, but I'm also Simon, and we are doing an architecture tour of Batman Arkham Asylum. And we're just gonna look through each of the buildings relatively briefly, not doing a playthrough. So the second building we're going to is the medical facility. Medical, in case you don't know where we are medical. I guess maybe we should look at the outside as well. So, in the last video I was talking about how linear the spaces were, but I guess on the outside map is quite open. As a constrained openness, I guess, because the island isn't that big. But out here you can do pretty much whatever you want and run wherever you want and etc. But there's not too much to do out here. There's a lot of secrets everywhere. That's like a back entrance into the medical facility, and you can look out at Gotham City. An interesting interpretation of it. Like, it's less stylistic, and the buildings are all fairly sensible. No fancy Gothic statues or anything like that, as you might have seen in some of the movies. Anyway, you can climb around the rooftops and all that, but there's not too many things here, except for finding secrets and all that. Anyway, let's go inside the medical facility. So the intensive treatment was kind of like a prison. There were a lot of cells. There wasn't too many treatment facilities except for an electric chair, which is strange. But it's fitting with the story though. Anyway, so medical foyer. So you might notice immediately the architecture, or well, not the architecture so much, but the style or the artwork is much more like a hospital. We get shiny white floors, and we have less steel, less security, and a little bit more white walls and all that, wooden chairs and wooden tables. So it's more like a hospital, which is obviously fitting with the medical facility. It's still very tall hallways and corridors, very tall spaces, and obviously that fits in with the Gothic style of Batman, the artistic inspiration. Like, it's very tall spaces. Let's see. Oh, this place. So we have rooms and corridors and rooms. And this part of the game, when you come here, there's this, and maybe I should talk more about this. Like, you have enemies here and they have guns, if I remember right. And what you're meant to do is you hide up in the gargoyles, and I won't comment too much about why there are gargoyles inside this room. It makes no sense, but for the purposes of the game, they're just places for you to perch. And then you take out the enemies one by one. If they spot you, then they can kill you quite quickly because they have guns. But if you use stealth, then you can take them out one by one and all that. So the room itself is very well designed to support the gameplay, and you might see these broken walls, and so you can break walls as well. Let's see if I can find some walls that I haven't broken yet. I can't. Oh, there's one. So you can explosive gel, and you can spray the explosive gel, and then you can explode the explosive gel. And so you can smash walls like that, and so you can change the arrangement of the spaces a little bit for the purposes of taking out the bad guys and all that. And you can see there's 3 levels. There's one down there, and then there's midway, and then there's like a pathway up here. And so the enemies walk back and forth along these pathways, and it's a very interesting space for the gameplay. Like, and you use stealth and you take people out. I mean, I can't explain it too well because we're not doing the gameplay in this series. But let's just say it's an interesting arena because like you can hide under here, you can hide inside these things. I don't know why these things are here. Like I don't know why they would exist in a real building, but for gameplay, there are places for you to sneak around in. And I guess there's some miscellaneous hospital things. Although you know, you're not exactly sure why this stuff is here or what it's meant to be for. Showers. Yeah, showers. Why are there showers here? Well, never mind why, but it's a good space for the gameplay. Let's just leave it at that. And this part of the game, what they tell you to do is, like, there's 3 doctors that have been taken hostage, and they tell you to rescue each one. And they tell you to go to the surgery, X-ray room, and observation. So they're all this way. But if you remember, as I was saying, you know, the spaces...
Welcome to Arkham Asylum.
Oh, no.
Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham built this fine institution...
Okay, so we just don't have to... Just so we don't have to talk over him. Like the game... Like this is not a real hospital. The spaces are not arranged like a real hospital. I can tell you now that this is... What is that? Patient observation. This is the surgery room, as you can see down here. This is the X-ray room, and so like this hospital only has 3 rooms, apparently. And they're linked by twisty corridors. You know, this is nothing like a real hospital. You don't have any patient rooms, you don't have any, you know, other spaces, and there's not even a building, it's just bits and pieces joined together. And what happens is...
Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham built this fine institution, few would have believed it could be the premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center it has become.
Surgery,
Everyone knows the
observation.
stories of the various so-called super criminals who've been treated here, but that is only half the story. Our low security wings offer normal but troubled individuals a safe haven for recovery. An extensive breakdown of our costs and healthcare packages.
Alright, so... Yeah, so I mean, they put signs on the walls, and so you can follow the signs, I guess, but... You know, because there's no directioning, right? There's no landmarks, there's no... You know, there's no clear logic to the way the spaces are set out. And so what happens is or what I did was just look at the map. And I guess a map like this, it helps. Maybe it helps the player, but also I think it's a cop-out, because it allows the game designers to make spaces that don't make sense, and yet it allows the player to navigate through them successfully. I mean, without the map, you wouldn't know where you're going at all. But with the map, then you don't have to make the spaces, you know, navigable. You don't have to make it so that people can figure them out, because you can just look at the map. So I think it's yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's very good in that sense. You know, patient observation, it's a room in itself. And I remember, yeah, that's right. In the actual game, this would be filled with a poison gas, and you're meant to extract the poison gas by turning on the fans, if I can find any fans. Or maybe I'm wrong, I can't find the fans. Maybe that was another space. Or are those... No, those are the fans up there, I think. Anyway. Yeah, that's a switch there. So, yeah, corridors and rooms. Corridors and rooms, I guess that sums up the architecture or the spatial design in this game. It's a series of corridors and rooms that otherwise don't make much sense.
Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham built this fine institution, few would have believed it could be the premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center it has become. Everyone knows the stories of the various so-called super criminals who've been
Surgery?
treated here, but that is only half the story. Our low security...
And you know when I said earlier that there's a lot of chatter in this game? Yeah, like that. And in the actual game, when you're playing through it, there's a lot more of it. People just talk and talk and talk and talk, seriously. So surgery, there's a guy in here that you're supposed to rescue. And you know, again, it's a room. It's not even a proper surgery. There's no surgical equipment. Really. I mean, there's a little bit of it there. There's not much of it. It's a self-contained room, joined to other self-contained rooms by twisty corridors. Which, I mean, if you played a lot of games for a long time, you know, all the way back, Wolfenstein 3D or Doom, you know, those early games, that's how games were designed, or even earlier on with some RPGs. You know, it's corridors and rooms and dungeons and all that. And
Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham built this fine institution, few would have
okay, let's go over there.
believed it could be the premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center it has become. Everyone knows the stories of the various so-called super criminals who've been treated here, but that is only half the story.
Look
Our
at that.
low security
Yellow,
wings
red,
offer
and
normal
blue.
but troubled individuals a safe haven for recovery. An extensive breakdown of our costs and healthcare packages can be found at the front desk or at www.arkhamcare.com/prices. We accept most major HMOs. Our website contains
Shut
everything
up.
you need to know about our facility
damn,
and how
shut
we
the
can
hell
help
up.
you. Did you know that the children's area on the site can provide you with the details?
Okay, the red, yellow, and blue lines on the floor, I don't know how many of you would have played the original Half-Life, but they did that at the start of the game as well. Like, you know, they put lines on the walls and the floor, like colored lines, color-coded, to tell you where to go. And maybe it's like a reference to that. It's not too successful. I mean, if a space doesn't make sense, no matter how many signs and clues you put in, it's still going to be fairly abstract. So this is the X-ray room, and you know, aside from there being a lot of X-rays on the walls, there's no real indication of why this is there's not even an X-ray machine. What the heck? Okay, never mind, it's a game. But you know, like the spaces really does serve gameplay first and foremost, and if it's not entirely logical, that doesn't really matter. Alright, so that's the medical facility.
Welcome to Arkham Asylum. Our staff are here to help you. When Amadeus Arkham built this fine institution, few would have believed it could be the premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center it has become. Everyone knows the stories of the various so-called super criminals who've been treated here, but that is only half the story. Our low security wings offer normal but troubled individuals a safe haven for recovery. An extensive breakdown of our costs.
So, yep, that's pretty much the medical facility. Surgery, oh no, sorry, there's one more. We go up the elevator to this place. There's more. Yeah, so, I mean the spaces, I wouldn't say that the spaces are particularly well arranged. I think the individual rooms are designed quite well in terms of serving the gameplay, but I don't think, like, you know, beyond the individual rooms, it's just, you know, really corridors. And here, this part again, you know, we have experimental chamber, we have boiler room, we have the morgue. So these are the 3 rooms, and then we have twisty corridors. and secure access. So again, like corridors and rooms that really don't make too much sense. Secure access. So the elevator comes out here if it were working. If I can remember where to go. And you go into here. You know, I guess having a security area outside the elevator, it makes sense, I guess. Where am I going? Not that way. The other way. What? Oh, that door is blocked, I see. So, okay, I see. It's a bit of a maze, really. And I'm not sure mazes are really good ideas. I mean, I'm sure other people have said things about mazes and designs. I mean, I'm not the only guy who talks about game design in the world. And mazes, they're kind of old school. Like, a lot of games used to have mazes, but I think modern games have mostly decided that mazes are not fun. And I would agree with that. Like, there's nothing too much fun about getting lost. I mean, certainly you want challenges, you want to challenge the player. But, you know, being lost is not a... At least you don't want them to be lost for a long time. And I guess this game doesn't lose you too much. I mean, it's fairly straightforward in the end. Like, if you just follow the path, eventually you'll find your way back out, or you can use the map. Back to talking about the Scarecrow levels. This is the start of the first Scarecrow area, and unfortunately we're not gonna play through it. But the morgue, so you can tell it's fairly creepy stuff. And then when you start walking back this way, then you start tripping out. It's actually quite amazing. Like, in one part you would walk into a room and you look at something, and then when you turn around, like, that half of the room will be gone, and there'll just be an alternate dimension out there, and everything's messed up. And that's the Scarecrow making you hallucinate and all that, which is pretty cool. You might want to look it up or play the game to play through that. I mean, architecturally there's not too much merit. It ends up being just a fairly linear experience. Like, it's almost a linear platformer. But artistically it is pretty amazing. The way they set you up for the experience. Like, they'll put you into a familiar space, and then when you turn around, they'll just pull the rug from under your feet and show you a completely different thing. It's pretty well set up, even if it's not very complex architecturally. What's here? Well, where are we? Oh, we are at the experimental chamber. So the morgue, that's where we were just now. The experimental chamber and the boiler room. This, I think, is a boss fight area, if I remember right. Yeah, okay. This is a part where you're supposed to sneak around and not get detected. And so, you know, you get put in the other end of the space, and they make you crawl through these corridors, and then they let you see out as you go, and so you get to see what the challenge is before you run in and, well, before you sneak in and take out the bad guys. And as you can see, there's, you know, pathways here so you can sneak back and forth and not get detected. So it's a good thing, you know, it's a good way to set up a puzzle. They show you what the puzzle is before asking you to solve it, and I think that's good puzzle design. Like, you know, through here before, if you can see the corridor back behind this. So you can see the bad guys and you can see the patrol paths before you're asked to go in and take them out. Stealth. And not be detected. And so you're presented with a puzzle and you're shown all the pieces, and then the challenge is to put the pieces together. And I think that's a good way to design puzzles. In the Penumbra series, if you've watched that one, a lot of the times, the puzzles aren't actual puzzles. The challenge of the game is to figure out what the puzzle is. And then once you figured it out, it's actually quite easy and not very interesting. I don't think that's good puzzle design. That's like, I know a secret, guess what it is. And then not give you any clues. I don't think that's a particularly interesting game to play. Whereas here, they give you all the clues, and then they say, here, solve it. And I think that's a better way to set up a challenge. Anyway, so we are in the boiler room, but this is in fact a secret laboratory, I believe. And as you can see, the cave, we're underneath the rock, so we're not in the main part of the hospital anymore, that's for sure. Oh, we can get up here. And it's brick, and it's old, and it's all very... what's the word? Oppressive? Like it's not ominous? Yeah, it's whoa, I can grab onto that. I didn't know that. It's not useful though. So yeah, we're not in the main part of the hospital anymore. Do not enter. And this is also part of the story. There's secret research going on. So the art tells the story quite well. In the hospital there's the smooth white tiles. In the intensive care area there's all the prison stuff and the high-tech security stuff. And then here in the secret laboratory it's inside a cave, so it's all secret. So the artwork is fairly good in supporting the narrative. And I say artwork in contrast to architecture, because architecture is the spatial arrangement as well as the artwork. And the spatial arrangement, unfortunately, I have to say, is not very good. It's just corridors and rooms. Oh, wow. And the door is locked, and so we have to find the other way back. I can't even remember. I mean, look at that! Look at that one. Is that rock? Huh, that's interesting. It is, it's just rock. I'm not sure how much sense that makes. Like, why would you just leave the rock there in the corridor? Maybe it's not rock, maybe it's just... I don't know. I don't know what that is. Let's see, back here. This way. Not this way, this way. So one thing I'm not too sure about is that they don't unlock the doors for you after you've beaten the game. Like, even after you've beaten an area, you still have to crawl through all these convoluted pipes and everything to get back out. Yeah, I guess it's not a big deal. I mean, it's not really part of the main game. This is after we've finished, and so it's all optional anyway, so... Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. And there. And there. And you'll notice, like, they give you hints when you're able to do something and when you're not. So, F, press F to do that and all that. So I don't know if you think that that's making things too easy, but I think it's I don't think memorizing keys is a fun game. And I don't think playing Where's Waldo or Where's Wally is a fun game, and by that I mean, searching the environment for the one thing to do, and the game doesn't give you any clues. I don't think that's a fun game. It's like it's a game, it's just not a very fun game. Looking for a needle in a haystack, basically. And Penumbra did that sometimes. And some other games, Mirror's Edge does that sometimes. I don't agree. It's not like it's not intellectually challenging. It's just challenging how much time you want to put into looking for the secret or looking for the way to go. Anyway, that's the medical facility, and again we see how the artwork supports the narrative, but also we see how the spatial arrangement is. Let's just say it's not very innovative. I mean, I remember playing Doom and Doom 2. I don't know if you guys are quite that old, but the spatial design hasn't advanced since that, and that's like what? How many years is that? 15 years? 20 years? I'm not sure. But it's, I guess you'd call it typical level design. It's definitely not not the most amazing in that regard. Next up, penitentiary. Yep, the prison. Next, see you guys in a bit.